Good day and welcome back to Elementary 72 Gaming. Before I get into the video, I'd like to ask you all to please leave a like or comment on my video and consider subscribing to my channel. Now, today's video will go over the weekly maintenance and updates and the patch notes. Now, sorry for the low tone of my voice today. I'm not going to be able to speak very loud or continue on for very long segments, so this might be a very short video. Okay, so let's see what happened in the patch notes. They fixed the bug which led to Strip Miner's group shield and armor repair being unable to be used. Okay. Now the DPS of drone damage amplifier can be displayed correctly. Fixed an issue where T4 signal disruption was less effective on guidance disruptors, increased by 16%. Fixed an issue where the bonus of Bellicose and Celestis to the target painter and sensor dampener is invalid. Fixed the problem that the mining speed of the strip miner would become faster. Okay, so there were a few bugs that came in with this last update. However, they did disclaim that there were no longer any bugs on the second day after the update when players were complaining about the ships doing extra DPS and items not working. Looks like they didn't disclose everything 100%, so there were other problems that were hidden in the background. Now, with this last update, a ton of things went wrong when it launched and became live, and they have went about fixing it up in the correct way. Hopefully, by the time we're done with this event, all of the problems will be sorted out. There are a ton of problems. There might be smaller problems in the game at the moment, besides these major ones that they discussed. And they really need to start patching up a lot of the older bugs in the system when it comes to the next set of things. Like the enemies in your encounters, their EVO modules work on a much larger range than our EVO modules work. They can use neutralizers at 60 and 80 kilometers, while it's not possible for us to use it on anything more than 20 kilometers, 24 kilometers. Basically, those are our general ranges. So they need to work out a way to fix up that problem, because if it continues on and we keep fighting these enemies with these massive drain advantages, it's not really going to work out for us. And it is something that they do know definitely is happening. The effect of enemy ships with sensor dampeners and stuff might be even greater than what it is for players, which would be almost impossible for us to complete missions. So they really need to work on this urgently, because can you imagine if you jump into an anomaly and they instantly disrupt you, so to the point where you only have 5k's distance on your ship to fire with? That's going to be basically right in their face to get the fire, and then they can drain you at full north while their ships are at 40 kilometers out. It's not really going to work out for us. They need to balance it out and give them the exact same range we have. Considering they have numbers advantage generally in missions and in encounters and anomalies, they should really give it to the player to be able to do it in this way. Now, moving on from the simple things which I've just talked about, the mining glitches and mining errors that have been happening in the week, well, those are another story altogether. Certain ships wouldn't mine, certain ships were having problems with activating their uh, the systems overall. And some of the loot boxes in encounters and sorry about this encounters and anomalies have been very, very different from what they're supposed to be. They've been dropping lower tier loot, like for example Inquisitors level 6 and 7 have been dropping T1 blueprints and MK1 blueprints when the MK7 level uh, missions, and they've been dropping level 1 rigs, and they've been dropping the common rig blueprints, and all of this being added together isn't really the best for overall gameplay. They need to just work on it a little bit and get everything up to the next level when it comes to moving forward. And I know that this isn't really something which should be complained about, but if the loot is dropping so low, it's going to drop off the number of players taking on that activity, and it's going to also make that activity something which players feel is more tedious and less rewarding, because getting a bunch of low tier rewards in a high tier event isn't really what the player is looking for. When you attack T7 enemies, you expect T7 loot. When you attack T6 enemies, you're expecting MK5 loot. But when you get MK3 and baseline loot in a high level Inquisitor, that's when players are going to get a bit more upset, because they're going to feel like they were cheated. They could sit in low sec or in high sec and find a level 5 Inquisitor and farm out the exact same gear over and over again. The spawn rate on certain other activities has become a little bit more difficult. The improvement to the strategies of level 8 and 9 enemies has become really uh, prominent now, as players have started to take them on again and start to explore going towards T10. The attack strategies have become really difficult, so on the positive side, it is actually a good step up in gameplay. You choose your level of enemy and you keep going, and the play is advancing with the level up. However, the negatives on the side of the gameplay is the enemies are way too good with their E-War modules. They can use neutralizers and Norse at massive ranges, and it makes it almost impossible for you to fight them fair. Even in teams of 4 and 5, you're going to struggle against medium level 9 and level 10, because their E-War modules can drain a ship almost instantly. My Cyclone, which normally can last for about 5 or 6 minutes with the micro warp drive and all systems active, died in, what was it, 30 seconds against T9, and that's a medium, because they had, what was it, 4 neutralizers and 3 Norse, or is it the other way around, whichever way it was. But that's just a show of what they have done with the EWO modules. They've improved the way the enemies use them to such an extent that they are over effective. I couldn't even last a minute with the battery and with all items equipped just to keep me away from them. They were micro warp driving towards me, which made it even more difficult for me to keep range away from any enemy that tried to get too close. And the enemies who were getting too close were generally the big battleships who were hitting me with massive DPS. And those that were using the EWO modules were so far away, I would have to get into close range with the big battleships in order to fight them. Eventually, I did find a way around this problem. It's jump out, jump back in at 100 kilometers and wait for the faster ships with micro warp drives to catch up to you. Destroy them one at a time and hope that you don't get in range of the Norse or neutralizers, because their range is it is so huge, it's unbelievable. I think I fought the enemies at 140 k's away from the center of the anomaly, and that is just doing it solo. It's become that difficult. When we went in with a 3-man team, we both jumped out twice and returned back in just to complete a medium. No, not that it wasn't a medium. There was a large uh, level 9 anomaly. Now, the thing is, it wasn't that we were underpowered, it was that the EWO modules on them were overpowered. And when I say overpowered, I mean they had way too much range and they had way too much of effectiveness. So that is something that needs to be worked on. Moving on, the next thing, which was a real problem, is okay, I know it's already been mentioned, but the camping with the spheres has been going on everywhere. On the suggestion group and the bug report group, it has been saying that the spheres are totally not balanced. Yes, it isn't balanced, and this is off the Eve Discord. You can go in, you can search up yourself. You're gonna find there's 100 or 200 comments exactly saying what I'm talking about. I went through just a few. I couldn't go through all of them because I just kept getting the same notice as I went through trying to read all of the suggestions and all of the bug reports. So the interdiction spheres have been overused on gates, and there is really no way to evade it except for the covert ops vessels. And players have been playing a trick where they drop a loot box near the covert ops vessel to force it to decloak. And this has been happening multiple times I've even seen that this here works on the covert ops. You drop one and they instantly decloak and you can hit them. I don't know why this glitch is occurring. This is definitely a glitch. It shouldn't be decloaking with the box drop. Those covert ops vessels need to be helped out because of this mess up in the gameplay. Now, moving on from these things, we're going to need stronger sensor systems to be able to detect covert ops ships. It's something that they need to put in. Covert ops vessels weren't balanced with the countermeasure against them. So basically, like a sensor ship, like the target painter, should have a stronger sensor anomaly reading when they are too close. So if they get within 20 kilometers of Bellicose or one of the other uh, target painter ships, they should instantly light up a covert ops vessel. So there is something they need to put in because covert ops can't just be totally sneaky. I could run an entire corp through gates with that there and end up running a camp on a station with a covert ops fleet decloaking in front of their dock. Now there is something which you wouldn't ever expect, and there is something that could happen if it isn't addressed. So yeah, those are just the basics that I have for now. I will make another video a little bit later, and hopefully you will enjoy the videos. I'm sorry about the poor quality right now. I really don't have much of the lung capacity to talk at the moment, so thank you all for watching. Have a good day.